Can you give me the microphone, please, just for the sound, inshallah? Jazakallah khairan. Not yet. No, because that's another chapter. So wudu. So after Taharah is the fiqh of salah, and then salah will cover all of that. But inshallah, we can go through the Hajj section, just to review the fiqh of Hajj, and it's in a very. Jazakallah khair. Let's double check if it's on. One more thing. Yes, on. Yeah, so this has four I believe, 4 volumes, right? So this one by itself has purification and prayer only. And then you have the other one, I believe, is zakat and fasting. And the other one, I think, is another section of prayer as well. Prayer, and then zakat, fasting, and then hypes of water, right? We did that. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, so one of the sections that I wanted to look at again was the obligations of wudu and the sunnahs of wudu, right? And then we'll go through the process of wudu altogether. So let us begin. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. In the name of Allah, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companions, and all of those, and all who follow them until the day of judgment. Bismillah. Okay. All right. So, if I may ask, when you look at, it's good that we know the wudu altogether, right? But when you look at this, like obligations of wudu, sunnahs of wudu, what do you get from this? Like, what is the wisdom? It's always important to know, like, why break it up? Why not just teach the wudu altogether from A to Z?
Because then you have a better understanding of why you have to do certain things.
Okay.
What is required of you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do it, then it's no sense you go pray and you don't have wudu.
Okay.
The importance of what it is.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Purifying himself for prayer, expiate all of his sins, and his prayer is considered an extra reward.
Good. So when you look at the definition of the fara'id, of the fard, and the definition of the sunnah, right? So the obligatory salah, right? The fard, walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. The fara'id, right? The fara'id, the obligatory in salah are those actions, right? Those actions that if is missing, then it makes the whole act invalid. So if you miss one of those are called, the fara'id are called the essentials, right? They also call it the arkan, okay? And the arkan are pillars, okay? And pillars, in definition, is that which it cannot be done without. If it's missing, then, like for example, the table has 4 legs. Take one out. Lopsided. Exactly. So lopsided, right? So you need it. The same thing. So you have, for example, something like this, right? So here you have so let's say how many pillars? 4, right? Okay. So let's say this one shahada is verbal. Okay? It's sitting on the other four pillars. And these four pillars are action. So this is salah, zakat, fasting, saum, and hajj. If any of these are missing, then our Islam is incomplete. Okay? Now, some of these things can be missing if a person, lacks the knowledge, lacks the being, the nurturing of what this really is, then that's understood. But if one with sure knowledge and understanding, and the message was presented well, if one denies any of this, then that is what you call a person who disbelieves. One who consciously denies. That's why in the section, we didn't get to read it, but in the section of salah, it talks about a person who denies, who rejects the salah, a person who consciously chooses not to pray and says, I don't believe prayer is important. I don't want to pray. I don't that takes a person out of Islam. It's an act of disbelief. All right. So that's why it's so important. So a pillar, right now. But again, we don't want if somebody is neglectful of their prayers, but they believe in Allah, but there's something missing. You can't put them in the same category of the person that says, I don't believe in Allah. I don't care. And sometimes people say that things like they don't mean it, right? Because you put them in a plane and the plane is about to crash, they'll say, oh Allah. They will ask Allah for help. They'll remember Allah. But the thing is, if a person consciously denies, just to give you an example, this is all related to the pillar, right? Because the pillars of Islam. So look at the ahadith. Jabir reported that the Prophet ﷺ said, between a person and disbelief is his discarding of prayer. Okay? Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As reported that the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever guards his prayer, there will be a light and a proof and a savior for him on the day of resurrection. Whoever does not guard and observe them, they will have no light, no proof, no help on the day of resurrection. And they will be raised up like Qarun and Harun, like Qarun and Fir'aun. Okay? So, and there's other narrations. This is on page, just so you can know, page 77 to page 80. It talks about this, about denying prayer. Okay? Now, that's, and the reason it's important. So yes, it seems harsh. Okay? It's good to understand it, but it's good to know the importance of salah. Okay? The importance of salah. So now, not only salah, all pillars. Okay? Pillars are something that cannot be done without. Okay? That's the definition. So if one of the pillars, going back to the presentation, the 6 obligations of wuduh, right? If one of these pillars is missing, the wuduh is invalid. Okay? What about if, and the sunnah is that which complements the pillars and which the Prophet did, but if a person forgot, let's say a person made wudu, forgot to say Bismillah, but he did the 6 obligations, and he did the sunnah acts, all of the they say the 9, but forgot to say Bismillah, right? Is that wudu valid, or is it invalidated because Bismillah was not said? That's the question.
I think it's not valid.
No, it's valid.
It's still valid because
It's
it's up in his mind.
it's valid. It's valid. So the sunnah doesn't make the act invalid. Okay. Now, what's sinful, again, is to consciously say, you know what? I'm not gonna say Bismillah, and deny and reject saying Bismillah. Then that's sinful.
If you consciously did it.
Yeah. But if a person forgot to say Bismillah, the wudu is still valid. Okay?
Because he has an intention.
Yeah, so that, you see what it does? And so knowing the differences between fard and sunnah, that's the importance. Alright? Because it helps you know what invalidates and what doesn't invalidate. Like for example, in salah, I'll give you an example. In salah, let's go back. In salah, let's say, so we have the obligatories of salah, right? So the obligatories of salah, I'm gonna go by the method just for review's sake, right? So according to this method, this text, right? And if you go on, it might we didn't do salah here, so we don't have it in. I do have the presentation for salah as well, but it's in the book, inshallah. So according to the book, right, the obligatory parts of salah are on page
119.
the legislation 119.
Yeah, that's a sign.
Yeah, in the book. So it's the, 1 second. So these are the conditions. Bismillah. Yeah, so anyway, so these are the conditions, the requirements, okay? The requirements, and the on page 109, and then the state of salah. Okay, so on page 119, correct. So here you have, so you can mark that, right? You can mark number 1, intention, right? Number 2, standing. All right, doing the obligatory prayers. What does that mean? That in the non-obligatory prayer, you can sit down. All right, what's with the details, but just so you can mark it. Number 2. Number 3, reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay, and that is all these evidence about Surah Al-Fatiha. Number 4 is the ruku'. Number 5, we're standing straight, right? Standing straight. The ruku', standing after making ruku'. Okay? What number am I?
Number 5.
Number 5, prostration. Good. Just the whatever's bold, whatever's dark, just mark it. Not all, because some of it is extra information. So let me go back. So number 1, the intention, right? On page 120. I'm sorry, on page 120, saying takbir. Number 2. I'm sorry, I missed that one. Number 2, saying takbir. Okay? Number 3,
Is standing.
standing. Good. Number 4 is reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. Number 5 is ruku'. Number 5 is ruku'. Number 6, right, is standing again, right? Standing again after ruku'. Number 7, prostration. Okay? Number 7 prostration. Are we good?
Hold on, Grandma messed up here.
No problem, no problem. Take your time.
Where to go over?
Yeah.
Here, okay. I don't know, five's here, five's here. This is five,
Okay.
and then this is six. Right, there you go.
All right.
Let me page now.
So we're on page 124.
Yes.
Okay. So another one. Yeah, it's calmness, but that one is part of is added after every action.
Okay.
All right. So that one is one as well. What number we're in?
7.
So put that one number 8, and then
Calmness will be 7.
calmness. Yeah. All right.
And then 8.
And then number 9, final sitting tashahhud, and number 10 is the salutation upon Abraham and Muhammad and Abraham and the family of Abraham, the Salat Ibrahimiyya. That's on page 126. See, in this text,
7. 8.
yeah, in this text, the way it is like this. Look, an-niyya, just an-niyya in the Matan of Shuja. Arkanu Salah is 18. I know in the book is less, but I'm going to tell you why. Is the calmness. Watch. An-niyya wal-qiyam, standing, ma'al qudra, wat-takbiratul ihram, saying Allahu Akbar, wa qira'at al-Fatiha, reading al-Fatiha, okay, wa bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, ayatul minha. Al-ruku', okay, look. Number 5, al-ruku'. So we're on the same page, right? Al-ruku'. But then it adds wa tu'maninatu fi, and calmness in ruku'. Okay, that's where the calmness comes in. Al-ruku', bowing down, and calmness in it. Standing up, rafa' wal-i'tidal, standing up after ruku', and calmness in it. So you stand and you calm. As-sujud, making prostration, wa tu'maninatu fi, and being calm and calmness in it. Al-julus bayna sajdatayn, sitting between the two sajda, and calmness in it. Al-julus al-akhir, sitting the last sitting, wa tashahudu fi, and saying tashahud, and sending the salutations upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the last that we didn't mention is the tasleems, saying assalamu alaikum. Okay? At tasleem. And the way it's mentioned, at taslimatul ula, the first tasleem. Okay? The first tasleem. Meaning they say, look, assalamu alaikum. Alright? Why? The other one, so let's say, if you say assalamu alaikum, right? And right there and then, let's say you lost wuduh. Okay? Is the salah valid or not? It is. Because he said the first tasleem. You see that? You didn't get to the second one. You just barely made it. Like you finished the whole prayer.
You do.
And you made one. And then your prayer is valid. You see what the benefit of knowing the fard and the sunnah and the hay'ah and the description and the what beautifies it, the salah. So these are the pillars. And also, if someone forgets something like of the fard and the sunnah in salah, like for example, let's say the sunnah of salah, the sunnah is the hay'ah. The hay'ah, for example, is raising the hand when you say takbir, Allahu Akbar. Okay. No, raising the hand when you're bowing down, or putting the hand right over left, right? Like these are all hay'ah. saying the reading loud, right? Let's say you forgot to say it loud. You forgot to say it loud. You're reading Maghrib. You finish it. You said you finished. You said Al-Fatiha, and you said the surah, but you didn't say it loud. And then you went into ruku'. Allahu Akbar. Now, the question is, do you go back or don't you go back?
Don't go back because you already made ruku.
So, good. So the reason why you fulfilled the obligation of reading it, and the addition is to say loud or silent. So you didn't say loud. Now what happens is you went from standing, from you didn't do something that's the hayya, like, which is like in addition, right? But you went into ruku', and ruku' is a pillar, is an obligation. So therefore you don't go back, you don't leave an obligation to go back to something that's not an obligation. You see that? So therefore you don't go back to it. But if you can, before going into the obligatory part. So for example, like this, you're making salah. You finish you finish the قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Right? But you said it low. Oh, I forgot to say it loud. If you're still standing, you can go back and say, just to make it better. Alhamdulillahi Rabb, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Just for yourself, right? But let's say you didn't remember in time, and you finish your reading, and you go, Allahu Akbar. Now, once you go into ruku', you don't go back, oh, I forgot to say it loud. You just continue. Your prayer is still valid. But what do you do when you forget? That's why it's good to know the obligatory and the sunnah and the hay'ah. And the hay'ah is like, for example, raising the hand when standing. If you don't do it, you don't go back to it, because you already, standing is the obligation. Raising the hand, if you don't do it, you don't go back to it. If you do it, it's a practice of the sunnah. But if you stand up, the obligation is standing, therefore you don't go back to a sunnah when you already went to the obligation. Okay? So this is the reason we're talking about this is so that we can understand the importance of fard and sunnah in the description and in the study of fiqh. That's why. So in salah, in regards of salah, it goes into, should we make the sujood of forgetfulness, the prostration of forgetfulness, or not? If we missed a fard, yes, we make sujood of forgetfulness. If we can't go back to it, right? If we missed a sunnah, we go to sujood forgetfulness, right? If we missed the hay'ah, right? Then this is the Bismillah. Salatul Jama'ah. If you miss a hay'ah, like to raise a hand, then you don't make sujood of sahw. You don't make sujood of forgetfulness, right? If you forget to read salah, Fatiha loud, and you went to ruku', you don't make sujood of sahw, because it's not.
Is it mandatory or sunnah? Because I've never done that before. I wonder if I'm making ruku', now just come up and say Allahu Akbar. I don't really, Allahu Akbar.
Yeah.
But is it a sunnah to do that?
To raise the hand?
Yeah.
To raise the hand is a hay'ah. So it's a hay'ah, meaning it's a characteristics of the salah, right? But it's not a pillar. And if you do it because the Prophet ﷺ did it. It's a descriptive, right? So it doesn't, if you don't do it, it doesn't invalidate the salah. Okay?
If one person will by himself, you read it quietly? Or?
It's good to read the prayers that are loud, and the prayers that are silent. Now, in case, for example, that you need to pray and someone's sleeping,
Or if you have two people praying and one person whispering loud, it's like it breaks your concentration, and the next person standing next to that person.
yeah.
You can't focus.
So, but also in the regular prayer, like the in the prayer that is like the Maghrib and Isha or Fajr, right? Those prayers,
You see the
it's good to say loud, right? It's good to say loud because that's the description of that prayer. But if, for example, in cases where somebody, let's say, let's say Maghrib Salah, that person that's sleeping, that person that's sleeping already prayed Maghrib. You're still in time of Maghrib, so that's good, but you're gonna pray Maghrib. And the space is, so you take in consideration the person that's sleeping, because taking in consideration a person, his needs is an obligation, right? And making the prayer loud is a sunnah. So you don't give up an obligation for a sunnah. Like you don't fulfill your obligation by depriving someone else, right? But in the cases where there's none of these, I always put scenarios of in case. But in case there's no obstacles, nobody's sleeping, everybody's up, everybody has to pray, then make it loud. You make it loud. There's no reason for not to. So now the obligations of wudu are 6. The intention, the washing of the face, the washing of the arms to the elbow, the wiping of the head, the washing of the feet until the ankles, and the sequence. And this is based on Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 6. Okay, that's the proof for all this. So if somebody, let's say, see number 6 is important. If somebody doesn't follow the sequence that's here, right? Of course, you have the sunnah, but if somebody, let's say, instead of washing the face first, wash the arms into the elbows and then the face, then that wudu is invalid. Why? Because the steps in the ayah is the washing of the face, and then the washing of the arms to the elbow, then the head, wiping the head. If somebody wipes the head first, and then you know what, I need to wash my face, I forgot to wash my face, then that wudu is invalid. Because a pillar was missing, which is the sequence. You see? So النية فرائض الوضوء 6 أشياء. النية عند غسل الوجه وغسل الوجه وغسل اليدين إلى المرفقين ومسح بعض الرأس وغسل الرجلين إلى الكعبين والترتيب. Okay, those are pillars. So if any is missing in the sequence, the order, or one of them is missing, then the wudu is invalid. The sunnah are 10. Bismillah, saying Bismillah before when you washing your hands to start wudu, right? Washing the hands before making wudu. Yes.
With the obligations, you didn't have Bismillah here on the top.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you don't say Bismillah making wudu, you don't say Bismillah, your wudu is still valid. Okay? So that's why it's good to know the difference, right? It's good to say it, right? But if you don't, yeah. Like for example, I made wudu and I followed all the steps, but I forgot to wash my hands before I started. Like I didn't wash my hands first and then start the process of wudu. Then that wudu is valid, right? I made wudu, I finished the pillars of wudu, and I forgot to wash my mouth and my nose, right? It's still valid, all right? So now I'm going to explain also another benefit of knowing the obligations and the sunnah, all right? So the sunnah of wudu, asharatu ashya, Bismillah, saying Bismillah, washing the hands before putting it in the bucket or before starting wudu. المضمضة والاستنشاق, rinsing the mouth and the nose. ومسح جميع الرأس, and wiping the full head. Okay? ومسح الأذنين ظاهرهما وباطنهما, and washing the ears internally and externally, like inside and outside with new water. So that means that if you wipe your head, you don't use the same water for the ears. You go put your hands again, and then you wipe the ears. But the ears one time. It doesn't have to be 3 times. Okay? So no, one time. Then
The head to is 1 or 3?
back and forth. That's it. Yeah. Now, then for the men, right, running the water through the beard, right? Like if they have thick beard, to put your fingers at تخليل اللحية الكثة, meaning the thick, right? And the importance is just for the water to reach the skin, right? And then washing the fingers, between the fingers. وتخليل أصابع اليدين والرجلين, the fingers and the toes. When you washing your feet, washing between the toes and between the fingers. And beginning from right to left, and then the axe 3 times, and the sequence, that is one after the other, right after.
So is it feet 3 times also?
Yeah. So inshallah we'll do the process together. We'll just practice it. So let us go into the there's a section here that talks about, it seems contradictory, which is elongating the streaks of light and not wasting water. And I'm gonna tell you why. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is important, inshallah.
32.
What is it? 30,
32.
32, yeah. I usually have my sticky notes, right? And I don't. These, you see these sticky notes? This is since 2004. It still exists. And this is the glue still works, mashallah. So when it says elongating the streaks of light, this refers to washing, right? To making wudu. And so Abu Hurairah reported that the Messenger of Allah said, "My nation will come with bright streaks of light from the traces of ablution." Abu Hurairah said, "And if one can lengthen his streak of light, he should do so." Okay? Meaning if one wants to make a wudu with more perfection and use a lot of water and make sure that everything is wet, then that is increased, because there will be no light on the day of judgment. And the believers will have light from the traces of wudu. Wherever they made wudu, that will be light. So Abu Hurairah added to this hadith by saying, if one wants to lengthen his streak of light, then let him do it. Okay? But now, there is another narration which follows, meaning don't waste water. And as reported that the Prophet ﷺ used to perform ghusl with one sa'. Right? 1 sa' is like a bucket. And then 1 mud is a smaller little cup, okay? And which is one sa' is 4 mud, 4 little jars. And 1 mud, he used to use it for wudu. Okay, just that much water. Okay? Now, I wanted to, but I didn't bring the bowl and the bottle of water, but it's okay. We will do wudu with no water. Even though that's not tayammum, we just do a fake wudu. But Now, how do we consolidate between this? Right? Between this amount of water, right? And that. So the Prophet ﷺ, because there is below it says that Abdullah bin Omar said that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ passed by Saad while he was performing wudu, and he said, "What is this extravagance? Is there extravagance in the use of water?" He said, "Yes, even if you are at a flowing river, right? But to consolidate between both points, it's good to conserve water and not be wasteful. But it's also important to make sure that one does not neglect to perfect one's wudu. Okay, so one has to be balanced. So now let me show you, inshallah ta'ala, why also is important to know the obligation in the sunnah. So the wudu, right? So the wudu first, so you start with Bismillah, and then you wash your hands, right? Bismillah, you wash your hands, Bismillah, right? Then afterwards, when you say Bismillah, you do what?
Wash your mouth.
You do madmada, right? You wash mouth, madmada, right? Now, if you see here, madmada, washing of the mouth, they put the nose too, okay? If you're trying to be economical, not because of financial matters, but because of you want to not waste water and you want to take you want to use less, like you want to use a bottle of water and it's sufficient, right? Then you can do the washing of the mouth and the nose with the same water. So you go like this, look, this water, and you go to the mouth and you also breathe into the nose, and that's it done. So you do 3 times. So that means that you cut down three gallons of water, right? So you wash the mouth 3 times and the nose 3 times, that's 6. You see that? So there's an opinion that you do it like that with the water, like the water, and that same water, you breathe to the nose and you rinse. That's it. You see that? Now, if you want to do 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, that's fine. So you do when you do the water, spit out to the left, 1 to the left, and 3 to the left. Then the nose, put water in the nose, hold, and blow, and clean your nose, right? And then you do that 3 times. Then after that, so the madmada wal istinsha, and then after that, the face, right? So you wash the face. You wash the face. So the face, you have to is all of this, right? All of this. So some people say, the rinsing of the mouth and the nose, we don't need to do it. But the face includes the mouth and the nose, right? So that's also part of the obligation. You wash the face, so you go from here and to right all the way to this part. So you go from water and then you wipe from right to the sides. So you wash the face, and then after the face, then you wash the right hand until the elbow. If you're conserving water, then this is the way you do it. You put a little bit of water. Yes. You put a little bit of water in a little scoop. That's it. That's enough. And that little water, you go like this. And when that water comes down, you just wipe. That's it, done. You get a little bit of water, done. Little bit of water. You could turn off the faucet, and that's it, done. It covers. And is the way the Prophet ﷺ did the wudu. And then you put a little bit of water here, right here. That's it, 1. So, but if you want to, because of the hadith that says about elongating your light, and you want to turn on the water, and you want to put your hand in the water and wet it, that's fine. So you have both. You have both options, right? So you wash your hands you wash from right, number one, two, three, and then you go your left, one, two, three, right? And then after that, after doing the hands, then you're going to wipe, then you use the same water, that same water that you have in your hands that's left, you wipe your head, right? You wipe your head. Then you get new water.
Yes.
You get new water, and in that water you do your ears in and out like a volume, right? In and out, right? Right? And you turn on the radio. And then after you do the ears, right, then you go to the feet. And then so you can also do the same thing. You could get a little bit of water, put it, just scrub in between your toes, and then the same thing with your other foot. The right foot 3 times, and your left foot 3 times. And then afterwards, you say the dua, which is here in the section towards the on page 30. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, notes of importance. No.
Page 33.
I believe so, yeah. So here's the dua. The dua is Allahumma inni. No, to enter the bathroom. The dua is that when the Abu Musa al-Ashari said, when I came to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he performed the ablution, I heard him say, "Oh Allah, forgive my sins. Allah maghfirli. Oh Allah, forgive my sins." And then he also said, "La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu yuhyi wa yumiitu wa ala kulli shay'in qadir." La ilaha illallah. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah. Right? To him belongs the kingdom of the heavens and the earth. He is the living and the one who gives life, and to him is the final return. Now, this is something that is said when finishing the wudu, right? Also, he says, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah." Here it is, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah." I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah. Page 34. Then Muhammad Rasulullah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Right? There is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and He has no partners. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. You can just say that. And the Prophet ﷺ said, 8 gates of paradise will be open for them. Look at that. 8 gates of paradise are open just right after making wudu, even before you go to pray. Look at that benefit. That's why wudu should not be neglected. So this is on page 34, is the dua. You can add on the title, supplication after wudu. You can also put, and also it says the benefits, the virtues of making wudu. And that's, you can underline that 8 gates of paradise will be open. Okay, 8 gates of paradise will be open. Now, one of the, so again, so that's the process of wudu. So wudu, washing the hands, right? So we said the process. Now, let's say you have a small amount of water supply and you're camping, and the water that you have is for the food that's scheduled to be cooked. Now, what do? So you can, before going into making, Izzy, can you get me my water bottle on my desk, please? MashaAllah. Yeah. So let's say, don't shake it. I'm just telling you not to do it. I know you're not doing it. I'm watching. I'm watching. You're shaking it.
It's already shaking.
It's
It
already
always shakes.
okay. So if it blows up, hey, Izzy, if it blows up, it's because you shaked it. I'm gonna open it, okay? Ready?
Wow.
Perfect. Good job, mashallah. So, bismillah. So in the case of knowing the obligations and the sunnah, in case where you have a limited amount of water, before resorting to tayammum, doing with soil, you can instead do the obligatory parts of wudu, and don't do the sunnah, don't do the three, don't do the right, the left, just do the obligatory parts, and the wudu is valid.
And with the obligate, you just did once, right?
You use it once, that's it. So look how easy. You make the intention, you wash the face, the hands to the elbows, you wipe some of the head, you wash, right, and you wash one foot, and then the other foot, done. See that? So that's before going into tayammum. If you're like, I have no water, I don't have enough, the little bit I have, is to drink and this, then you can go to tayammum, that's fine. But the thing, I'll give you an example. When I was in Egypt, and we lived in, my sheikh and I, we had an apartment in Giza, and it was like in the 6th floor. And the apartment was, they were fixing the water, the pipes, and they took long. And I was in the exam season, so in those 2 months, I was preparing to take 28 exams. Okay, so every night I will study from Asr all the way to Fajr. And I would, for 2 months, and I would finish a 300-page book in one night. And my teacher was and this is just review. So I would just read, and my teachers, he had back pain, so he would lay down on the floor. And I would sit, and just study. Alhamdulillah. And then we would pray tahajjud. And then he would tell me, and then we'll pray Fajr. And after praying Fajr, and we would not miss, like that was the routine. And then we would pray Fajr. And afterwards, he would tell me,
Can I borrow it for a second?
Naam. I'm live, I'm recording. Then you have to, Ma'adiratan. You see how I can say no? Because I'm just live. Khalas. So what happened was, Barakallahu Feek. So I would study, and so we would really, and after studying, after Fajr, he would tell me go to sleep, and he would stay up reading Quran, and I would go to sleep like until 7, just like
2 hours.
yeah. He would wake me up, and he would tell me what to eat. I would make 1 egg, and he said no, make 2, and then alhamdulillah, we passed the section that Sister Wahida didn't want me to share with you. So now, good, thank you for coming at this time. Get it, inshallah. You can join us. You can join us. Don't feel as a minority amongst the majority. So in the midst of this, I after I would I'm still making wudu. Yeah. After I would eat, he would give me his blessings. He would say, I am pleased with you, and inshallah Allah is pleased with you. He would give me, I would give him a kiss in his hand, he would give me a kiss in my head, and then go to school. And I would go take the exams. And so that's, I would not leave the house without that process. So he told me.
And that was for 2 months straight.
Yeah. I mean, I studied with him throughout the year, but that was for exams. So I did 2 years of Azhar in 2 months. Exams and everything. But he believed in me. He's the one, I learned to do khutbahs with him in the house. He said, stand on the chair, say this, that, and we learned Islam practically. Walk down the stairs. I would not walk unless he goes first. I would not go up the stairs unless he goes first. I would not, I'm in a gathering with sheikhs and I would not answer unless I knew the answer, but I would look at him and he would give me the okay, or I would just not answer. I would just not give my input unless I got permission. I would not, so I would make sure that I would come home and to that house and I would bring food and I would bring mandarins and different things and that was my contributions and I paid the rent. And he will teach me. He said he didn't look at the time. He will teach me. He invested in me because he saw that I was serious, right? So now, Muhammad, check. Izzy,
Yeah.
check if mommy's outside. Check outside. I have to decline the call. check if mommy's outside. So the reason I'm sharing with you that is because that was my routine, right? And because my teacher understood that I'm coming to Egypt temporarily for the sake of learning and then coming back to America. So he knows that I'm not planning to stay. So he took that in consideration. And he said, no, if you go downstairs for the prayers, and you go, because there's no, now we're going back to the scenario. There's no water in the building. We only have water for the eggs, the tea, right? And for other necessities like using the restroom, right? And he said, if you go downstairs 6 flights and you go get water, you go make wudu, you go pray, and then you come back using all that energy going down the stairs 6 flights, which is 12 steps, because it's not, it's 12 flights, yeah, because it's like this, 1 floor, 2 floor. So anyways, he said, no, you conserve that energy. You pray here. So I'm like, how are we going to make wudu? And he showed me practically. He said, we use this and we do the obligatory parts of wudu. And we continue. So we were that day until the water issue was resolved. So we did the wudu with the fara'id, the obligatory parts of wudu. Even though in the walls outside the building in Egypt is sandy because it's desert. So some people will go and tap on the wall and make the emmer and that's it, done. No, we resorted to doing the obligatory parts of wudu. Okay, the obligatory parts of wudu and that the wudu was still valid. Okay, so that was a practical scenario that I experienced. Okay, now the things that nullify the wudu, according to the text, to the book, right, is ma kharaja, the way it's called, ma kharaja min as-sabilain, is whatever comes out from the passages, right? And here mentioned number one is, right, the parts, the deep sleep, but if you're, let's say you are sitting down and you doze off when you wake up, do you lose the wudu? Why not?
Because you're not out of conscious.
So because if your butt is on the sitting down, right? But if you're lying down, no, right? So النوم على غير هيئتي, like you're not sitting down. So if you're sitting down, and there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that he will make the sunnah prayer of Fajr, and he will sit down to wait for the time to start, and he will doze off, and then it was time for Salah, he would get up and go pray. So he wasn't laying down. Okay? Now, another thing is the loss of consciousness. But here is a person becomes crazy or intoxicated, drunk, right? So if a person loses his mind, then the pen is lifted on him too, until he recovers it. But some people use that as an excuse to get by. I'm losing it. No, you're not. You're faking it, right? So you're not a doctor, number one. Number two, you go to a doctor, you go to a specialist, and if he determines that you lost it, yeah, khalas, it's okay. You have a legitimate doctor's note. But if you don't, then no. So the loss of consciousness has to be medically proven as well. And then touching the private parts, without ha'il, touching the private parts without any barrier. But if you do it on the clothes, then you don't lose your wudu. All right. So these are some of the actions, and then there's the 7 actions, those that do not nullify the wudu, but there's some ikhtilaf in the schools of thought. But these are the 7 that, according to the Sheikh Said Sabiq, the author of the book, that he put these 7 items. And then you have actions that require wudu, right? To make sure for the obligatory salah, right? The salah, the prayers. But the prayers, if you have wudu, you do not have to do wudu every time. It will be too much. Okay? It will be excess if you have wudu. So that's why now we go back. Now that's why it's important to know what nullifies wudu. And if it didn't nullify the wudu, then you do not have to remake wudu for salah. Tawaf. Why is wudu required in tawaf?
Tawaf is a form of worship.
Good. Tawaf is considered salah. This is the salah that you can talk in. And you see, you go in tawaf and you're saying adhkar and you're saying dua and you can talk in. But that's considered the salah. You know how you come to the masjid, like Brother Fawzi is doing. He's doing tahiyatul masjid. He's saluting the masjid, right? When you make tawaf, that's the way you salute the Kaaba, the house of Allah. So when you make 7 tawaf, you're saluting, you're making, so it's considered a salah. All right. That's why. So I'll give you an example. Like some will mention about and we're about to conclude. I'm gonna conclude with a cliffhanger. For those in education, you know what a cliffhanger is, right? What is the ruling, sisters, of the woman who's on her cycle to recite some Quran? Or just to say some Quran, not to hold the Quran, just to say. Okay, one muftiya says we can't. What about the other three? 4 schools of thought. Right? Now, I'm going to give you to read the Quran during the menstruation cycle. All right? Typically, the rules, no reading Quran, no holding Quran, right? Okay. But I'm going to give you a story and we'll conclude. That's the cliffhanger. I'm not going to leave you like that. The wife of the Prophet, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. So you imagine, right? You imagine. The wife of the Prophet ﷺ came to perform Hajj, the journey of a lifetime. And when she arrived in the Haram al-Sharif, she arrived in Mecca, she got her menstruation cycle. And she was sad. And the Prophet ﷺ said, don't do the tawaf, but do everything else. Okay? But now, sa'i, you know when you do sa'i? What do you say when you're doing sa'i? Inna safa wal marwa min sha'airillah. That's a verse of the Quran. Huh? I'm just giving the other angle, right? Because the Deen is based on ease. Okay? So there is leniency in some parts. Okay? So this is one example that showed that it is allowed to say it, but there's a difference in regards of you shouldn't hold it, right? You shouldn't hold it. And it's better to be in wudu is better. But this is, so that's why here in the actions requiring wudu, the scholar understands that. He didn't put it, but he says, actions that require ablution, ritual prayers, tawaf, and touching the Quran. He didn't mention reciting the Quran. Okay? You could look at page 39 and 40 and see what he says in the hadith and so on. I'm not going to give you that because it's time for Salat al-Maghrib, inshallah ta'ala. So inshallah, next week, we will go through, inshallah, this will be quicker. We'll go through the wiping of the socks. We'll go through the description of the ghusl and the tayammum, inshallah. So that we will conclude the no rush. We'll take it slowly, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. Barakallahu feekum, subhanakallahu bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wa sallallahu wa baraka ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.